Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrali sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli rabbi zidni ilma. How is everyone? Hope that everyone is well, preparing well for the paper. Confident? Well, that's great. Today we are going to attempt one more paper, that is Computer Science Paper 1, Computer Systems, 0478, Paper 1-2. That is of February, March 2023. The paper is of 1 hour 45 minutes. You have to answer on the question paper. No additional materials are needed. You have to answer all the questions. Use a dark blue pen or a black pen. You can use an 8 pencil for any diagrams if you need to draw or any graphs to be made. Write your name, center number, and candidate number in the boxes that are given at the top of the page. You have to write your answer to each question in the space given. Do not use an erasable pen or correction fluid at all. Do not write on any barcodes. Calculators must not be used in the paper. The paper is of 75 marks. The number of marks are given at the end of each question or the end of each part. There is no mark that will be awarded to you in case you're using brand name of software packages or hardware. So please do not use it at all. Question number 1. Computers can be infected with malware. Spyware is one example of malware. Tick one box to show a correct definition of spyware. So the word is spyware. You have to find out that which word is, which definition is best description of this word. Software that activates a webcam and transmits the video to a third party that outputs it live on a website. Software that detects when a password is being entered and then emails the password to a third party. Software that records all data entered into a computer, analyzes this data to find email addresses and passwords, then post these to a website. Or the fourth option, software that records all key presses and transmits these to a third party. So you can very easily identify that parts A, B, and C are completely incorrect because they are containing a word that is depicting that they are not the right options at all, like webcam. Spyware is not using the webcam at all, right? Like there's no need of mentioning the word webcam whenever we talk about the spyware. Similarly, in part B, software that detects when a password is being entered and then emails the password to a third party. By the way, is it always email that is involved? Definitely not. Software that records all data entered into a computer, analyzes this data to find email addresses and passwords, then posts these to a website? Definitely not. On the contrary, the last one, software that records all key presses and transmits these to a third party, is the right option. That's why you tick this part and you are able to score 1 out of 1. Easy? Okay, now one more revision. Another term that we use for spyware is keylogger. So just for the purpose of remembering, you can note it down for your own reference. Part B. Complete the table by identifying and describing 2 other examples of malware. So one is mentioned here. To think of any other 2, do not use spyware at all. That's, I guess, exactly that's true. So here 2 are mentioned, like virus and the worm. And the descriptions are, and you can see the marks are 6. It means that you have to mention the name. Name is going to give you 2 marks. And along with that, you have to write down 2 points for the description for each. Like description for virus, 2 points. Description for worm, 2 points. And in this manner, only you will be able to score 6 out of 6. Now, if you have taken virus, software or code that replicates when the user runs it with an active host. Now, remember, the term active host is very, very important whenever you talk about the viruses. Or deletes or damages or corrupts the data files, or it deletes or corrupts the damages or corrupts the files. It takes up storage or the memory space. So any of the description the student has written, if he has written appropriately, will give him 2 out of 2. But remember one important thing, you need to remember that virus is a software or the code or the program code that replicates itself and needs an active host. On the contrary, worm, software or code that replicates itself on a network without user input and without active host. So that is the basic difference that you need to remember between the virus and the worm. Like we are just revising the concept for you people. Like you need to remember that here you can see active host is for a virus and no active host is for a worm. So this is what you need to see, that if you're talking about remembering this virus and worm, so these are the basic differences. They both replicate fine, but virus needs an active host while worm does not need an active host. Takes up bandwidth, deletes, damages, or corrupts the data or the files. It takes up storage memory space or the memory space. It opens back doors to computers over the network. It is used to deposit other malware on networked computers. So in this manner, if you have written 2 points for worm and 2 points for virus, in this manner, you can easily score 6 out of 6. 2 points here, 2 points here, 2 points here, 1 here, and 1 here. In this manner, you can see that you can easily score 6 out of 6. Understood? Okay, now definitely you can take others also. Let's see that what else can the student write. Apart from these two, maybe some other student has thought of Trojan horse, or maybe another one has thought about adware or ransomware. They all are correct. Moving on to Trojan horse, software or code that is hidden within our other software, and or software that is disguised as authentic software. When downloaded or installed on the other malware it contains is installed. Simple, 2 points for writing down the definition of or the description of Trojan horses. Similarly, adware, software or code that generates or displays unwanted adverts on a user's computer. Some may contain spyware or other malware. Some, when clicked, may link to viruses, reduces device performance or reduces internet speed, redirects internet searches, or redirects user to fake websites. Now, these are the points that are linked with adware. Similarly, the last point is ransomware, software or code that stops a user accessing or using their computer, or stops a user from accessing or using their data. And how does it do? By encrypting the data or the files or the computer. Now, after your data is accessed by by some other person, by some other user, then you need to pay a fee. And in order to you need to pay a fee, and in order to decrypt the data, or you can say you need to pay a fee to release the data. So this is what is the definition of ransomware, the description of ransomware. Maybe a student has taken any of these 6, excluding the spyware, because that is already mentioned. And in this manner, you can easily score 6 out of 6. Easy? Okay. Part C. Proxy servers and firewalls have some similar functions. Identify 2 similarities and 1 difference between proxy servers and firewalls. You can see it's basically a 3-mark question, means 2 similarities and 1 difference. Now, see similarities. Similarities, for example, check incoming and outgoing signals. This is the same performed by both the proxy server and the firewall, or it filters the traffic. Store whitelist or blacklist. On what is blacklist? I mean, this is what we know. Whitelist means allowing. For example, you can see blacklist means disallow, and whitelist means allowed websites. Block incoming or outgoing signals. Both block unauthorized access. Keep a log of the traffic, definitely the internet traffic. Both can be hardware or software, or both can be both hardware and software. So this is the list of all the similarities between proxy servers and the firewalls. Any questions? Yes, this is something that you already know, that we have been studying, that these are the similarities. On the contrary, the differences. Proxy can hide users' IP address. Firewall does not hide the user's IP address. Now, this is the difference. Difference number 1, for example, if a student has identified 1 difference, That's perfectly okay. But let's see what else the student may write, and definitely that will give him one mark because there was only one difference to be mentioned. Proxy intention is to divert attack from server. Firewall is to stop unauthorized access. See, proxy's intention is to divert attack from servers. But on the contrary, firewall is there to stop unauthorized access. Proxy protects the server, while firewall protects the individual computer. Now that is another difference. Proxy examines a processor's requests for a website, but a firewall does not check the type of signals. Proxy processes client-side requests, whereas firewall filters the packets. Now, client side, who is client side actually? The user, the one who is using the server is called a client. So proxy's job is to process the client-side requests, while on the contrary, firewall is there to filter the data packets. Proxy transmits website data to the user, but a firewall does not. It allows only the valid signals to pass through. Proxy allows faster access to a web page using cache, but a firewall does not allow faster access or have cache. Proxy can hide internal network from internet, but a firewall cannot. Now, in this way, you can identify any one difference out of this whole list. You write it and you are able to score one mark, because 2 marks were for similarities and 1 mark was for differences. Any questions? Okay. A programmer has designed a 3D interactive computer game. They are going to develop a program for the game. The program needs to run efficiently, but it must also be developed as soon as possible. Tick one box to identify whether the programmer should use a high-level language or a low-level language to develop the program. Explain the reasons for your choice. You can see the question is of 4 marks, and there is no mark that is going to be awarded for choosing the language. But whichever language you have chosen here, for example, if you had chosen, maybe if you had chosen this, assume that you had chosen high-level language, then what will you do? What you need to see for yourself, that if you have chosen high level, then these are the points that you need to write down, because there's no more for the choice. They have already given you the names of the languages. But what you need to know is, if you have chosen high level, then all the points of high level should be written here, and you will be able to score any 4 from high level if the student has chosen high level. Now, what are the reasons? Easier for programmer to read or write or understand or to edit the program. Therefore, the programmer is less likely to make the mistakes. And another thing is, the program can be written in a shorter time also. The programs which are written in high-level language are easier to debug. It's easier to find or correct errors also, like a student can write that also. Since it is easier to debug, so the programmer can find and correct errors in less time. See, this is a very big reason, that since it is written in a shorter time, it is easier to debug. That's why it is so much popular among the programmers. Game will be machine independent. Game will be portable. A student can say it is machine independent. And another student can say it is portable. They both mean the same. And since the game is machine independent, or in other words, is portable, so the game can be used on any computer without a need for understanding of the hardware or compilation of that hardware. That will again be considered as one valid point. Programmer can focus on the problem instead of the manipulation of memory or the hardware. So that out of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points mentioned, a student can choose any 4 and he will be able to score marks easily. On the contrary, if a chosen language was low level, then what are the features of low level? So this is what we are now going to see. What are the features that we need to know for the low level? More memory or RAM efficient, 3D graphics, and since it is more memory efficient, that's why 3D graphics will have high memory consumption anyway. It allows a manipulation of memory, allows for more efficient control of the response time, allows for use of specialized hardware. So these are the basic reasons that another programmer may say that I want to choose a low-level language. That's perfectly okay. But whichever language you have chosen, you must be able to write down the valid reasons, or you can say, in other words, why have you chosen? In other words, a sort of an advantage. So you need to be very confident about your answer, and only then you will be able to score 4 out of 4. Part B. If the programmer chooses a high-level language, they can use a compiler or an interpreter to translate the high-level language program into a low-level language. Now you can see, describe the operation of a compiler and of an interpreter. Now you have to choose it yourself. Like if you say that I want to choose a compiler, perfect. So then you need to see the marks are for, and you have to write down points that are we've explained, and you have to take up 2 points with the proper description to score 4 out of 4. Like student number 1 chose compiler. Fine. Why? Because it checks all the code before executing any code, produces error report with all errors found for the whole code before translating or running any of the code. It produces executable file. So these are the reasons for which student number 1 may choose compiler over interpreter. On the contrary, another student can choose interpreter. No worries, but he should be writing down the valid reasons for his choice. So first point, it checks interpreter is there which to check or translate one line of code and then executes it before moving on to the next line. It stops when an error is found. When corrected, the program can be run from the same position, or it allows error correction in real time. So a another student can write interpreter, and he chose interpreter, and then he can write down its description. Why did he choose interpreter over compiler? Be confident about your answer, why, and then you are able to write down proper answers, and you will be able to score properly. Question number 3. A new computer comes with primary and secondary storage. Part A. Data storage is measured using binary denominations. Complete each conversion. Part 1. 8 bytes equals to dash nibbles. Part B. 512 kibibytes, which is KIB, equals to dash mebibytes, which is MIB. 4 gigabytes equals to dash mebibytes. And 1 XB byte equals to dash mebibytes. Now, this is the working space given to us. What are we going to do? Let's do very quickly. Fine. And for that, you need to remember whatever we have learned earlier. The working of our, like you can see, 8 bytes, the first one. 8 bytes equals to how many nibbles? What we know is, this is my first working. We're going to utilize our working space. 1 byte equals to 2 nibbles. 2 nibbles means basically 4 and 4 bits, means 2 nibbles. So how many nibbles will there be in 8 bytes? What we did is we simply multiplied the two values together, and 8 into 2 equals to 16. And this is how we obtain that 8 bytes have 16 nibbles. Easy? Now, second part. 512 kilobytes equals to how many megabytes? For that, what we know is, we know that 1024 kilobytes makes 1 megabyte. So if I know how many, like 1024 KB equals to 1 MB, it means for 512, what is done here is 512 divided by 1024 gives you 1 upon 2, or you can simply say 0.25 megabytes. In this manner, you obtain this answer, and you are done with your second part also. Isn't it easy? Now part 3. 4 gigabytes equals to dash megabytes. What you know is 1 gigabyte equals to 1024 megabytes. And what we did next was, in order to find out how many megabytes are there in 4 gigabytes, you simply multiplied. By the way, I hope that we remember this whole process. If you remember, the beginning is with the bits, and then we have nibble also, fine. Then we have a byte. I'm just writing down the short forms. Then we have kibibyte. After kibibyte, what comes? It's megabytes. After that, what comes? It's your gigabytes, correct? And then we have one more unit that is not a part of our question, but still, I hope that we remember. Yes, tebibytes. And then we have the next one is my tebibytes. And at the top is my exabytes. Yes, correct. Now, I hope that we all remember this is our whole process. On the contrary, if I am asked to go from here to here, like just the rule that you need to remember. If, for example, I was asked to convert from here to here, which process will I apply? Will I, like, for example, if I'm asked to go from bits to kilobytes, or if I'm asked to go from kilobytes to bytes or whatever. So what do we do actually? Yes, what do? We perform the division, remember. Yes, exactly. So what we did here is, like, just to make you remember something that we have learned in the class, that in order to perform the operation going from here to here, we divide. And definitely by depending upon the value, like multiples of 10 to 4, vice versa, different situations. And on the contrary, if I am coming from here to here, like here in this case, why am I referring to this for your own benefit? Like for example, in this case, you have to move from exabyte to petabytes, like from here to here. You will multiply. Although it's here, it's very simple that we already know that it's the multiples of 1024 in this case. So here, just please remember so that you are not going to make a mistake at all whenever you are getting any questions like this in your paper. So since it is from exabyte to petabyte, so you will multiply. And that's why 1 exabyte equals to 1024 petabytes. Similarly, you are talking about the gigabytes to megabytes. Still, you are moving from here to here. So again, you observe that we multiplied. See, we multiplied. Easy? I hope that we will not forget it. Isn't it? So 1 exabyte equals to 1024 petabytes. Any questions before we proceed to the next question? Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, now. Part B. Random access memory, RAM, is an example of primary storage. Okay, now we are talking about that give three examples of data that is commonly stored in RAM. RAM is an example of primary storage. Give three examples of what kind of data is stored in RAM. You know it very well. Currently running data, currently running application software, currently running instructions, currently running part of the operating system, currently running utility software. Just remember, the most important thing is all the currently running data is stored in RAM. Describe the purpose of secondary storage. You have to, since it's a 2-mark question, that's why you have to mention any two from here and you will be able to score. For non-volatile, permanent, or long-term storage of files or data. And to store data that is not currently required by the CPU, to store data to be transfer it to another computer. So these are the reasons for secondary storage. You know it very well. If you want to store the data permanently for a long time, you need to use a secondary storage. Similarly, you can say if you want to store the data that is not currently required by the CPU, still you will be storing it in secondary storage, or to store data to be transferred it to another computer, still we need secondary storage. Question number 4. A wildlife photographer stores their digital images on a computer. Complete the table by defining each term about images. Term number 1, pixel, and term number 2 is resolution. Simple. Pixel is smallest component of the image. Simple, I can say that. Or a student can write down one square or circle, or one circle of one color. That's also perfectly okay. Resolution. The number of pixels per set area the number of pixels per centimeter, the number of pixels per inch, or another student can say the number of pixels wide by the number of pixels high, or another student can say number of pixels in an image. So all these answers are correct answers for resolution, because every student has talked about properly that what do we mean by resolution in this manner. Clear? Is it easy? Okay. One of the images, now in this manner, if you have written the definition properly, you are able to score. One of the images has a resolution of 1000 into 1000 and a color depth of 2 bytes. Calculate the file size of the image. Give your answer in bytes. So simple. What will you do is, you will simply multiply the two values together. I hope that you remember, by the way, I hope that you remember the formula, isn't it? Do we remember the formula for calculation of file size? You will simply multiply the two values and then multiplied by 2. Luckily, the value is automatically in bytes, is given in bytes. So in case if it wasn't given in bytes, then you will have to convert it into bytes also. But since it is a 2-mark question, so there's a mark for each and every stage that you have performed accurately. 1000 into 1000 into 2. If you have written it accurately and you have written the answer properly, like 1000 into 1000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can see 6 zeros and then 2 ones are 2. So in this manner, you can easily score if you have written the answers accurately. This is going to give you 2 out of 2. Easy? Any questions? This one is, yes, exactly. This one is a very easy question as compared to the other question that we have done till now. Part C. The photographer decides to purchase a solid storage device to back up their images. Complete the description of solid state storage. Use the terms from the list. Some of the terms in the list will not be used. You should only use a term once. Now the terms are binary, denary, electrons, grid, neutrons, non-volatile, RAM, star, transistors, virtual, and volatile. Now, statements are solid state storage is dash. This means that the data is not lost when the power is turned off. So since the word not lost is written here, it means the most right term to be used here is non-volatile. That's why we have taken this from here and we have put it here. So solid state storage is non-volatile. Solid state storage is made of dash that are laid out in a dash. So solid state storage is made up of transistors that are laid out in a grid. Gates are used to control the flow of the dash through the transistors. So gates are used to control the flow of the electrons through the transistors. This changes the data in the transistors from 1 to 0 or from 0 to 1. In this manner, handling each statement properly, reading and putting in the right words, in this manner you can easily score 4 out of 4 in a very short span of time. But remember again, I'm repeating, before you write it down here, first of all, go through the whole material, write it down with pencil or whatever. Just put the numbers here, like you can say number 1. For example, for normal time, you put number 1 here. Do not write in the beginning. Be clear with your answers. Once you are confident about your answer, only then write it down, please. Okay. Number 1 here, then number 2 is for transistors. You've found this transistor to be the most viable option. So you wrote 2 here. Then for grid, you wrote 3 here. And for the fourth blank, you wrote electrons here. You wrote electrons for here. In this manner, you can be confident about your answers. You can use a pencil also, and then you can do it later. Write them down later, but do not forget to write them down. Okay? Part D. The photographer compresses an image file before it is emailed. Give one reason why a file is compressed. So one reason, 1 point, any one form. Why do we compress the file? Because it reduces the size of the file, it increases transmission speed, or you can say it reduces transmission time. They both mean the same. Reduces storage space required. Now remember to use the word storage space. Okay? Less bandwidth is required for transmission. So all these are correct answers for the reason that why file was compressed. Question number 5. A website allows users to purchase items. Computer A sends a request to the home page. Computer A sends a request for the home page to the website's server. The request is sent using packet switching. The structure of a packet of data has three elements. One element is the packet header. Identify two items of data contained in a packet header. Recall packet, we have talked about. Packet, what are the components of packet? Destination IP or destination address, originator's IP address or originator's address, the packet number. So a student can write down any of the 2 points from here and he will be able to score 2 out of 2. See, it's so simple. Now, after that, identify the other two elements, the two other elements of the packet. So since header is mentioned here, what are the rest of the two? It's payload and trailer. In this manner, you have written it accurately and you are able to score 2 out of 2. Computer A needs to be directly connected to a router that is located in a different room. Tick one box to identify whether serial data transmission or parallel data transmission is more suitable for this connection. Now you have to tick the choice and then you have to get the reasons, the proper reasons for the choice, that why have you chosen serial or why have you chosen parallel. You can see it's a 3-mark question. It means that if you have chosen serial, then you need to write down 3 valid points for serial. On the contrary, if you have chosen parallel, then you have to write down 3 valid points for parallel. Fine. Why serial? Because data arrives in order. That is, the data is sent. It does not need reordering. Less likely to experience interference. Less likely to have errors. And since there is no interference, that's why there is no chance of having any error at all. There's very less likelihood of the data getting some errors. Can transmit over a longer distance, that is another room. Still fast transmission sufficient for the purpose because you are stationed in the other room, so that's perfectly okay if you are using serial transmission. Be confident about your points. Reasons should be the valid ones, and definitely you will be able to score 3 marks if you have written the answers, the correct answers. On the contrary, and the student chose parallel transmission, perfect. So he should be talking about it. Why parallel? Faster transmission speed than serial, because it's faster responses will be given to the requests. Very long connection is not needed. Next room is likely when within distance for parallel. Unlikely to error or arrive out of sequence or it is being skewed. Clear? Any questions? But be confident, 3 valid points. The connection will also use full duplex transmission. Define full duplex data transmission. So you know full duplex means what? It's a 2-mark question. So there's 1 mark for data goes in both directions at the same time. So you can see 1 mark is for data goes in both directions and 2nd mark is for at the same time or simultaneous. And only then you can score 2 out of 2. Be confident. You have to write down the answers in the right way. The data transmission will use parity checks. The bytes need to be sent using even parity. Now be clear, it's even parity. Be confident about the word even parity. So you can see it's even. Even means the number of on bits will be counted. If the number of on bits is already 2, 4, or 6, then a 0 is added. So you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. Even parity setting 4 bits. That's why it's a 0 here. Simple. Now you can see all the bits are zeros. So again, it's a 0. I'm not going to put a 1, definitely. Putting a 1 is out of question, isn't it? So either a 0 or a 1. So since there's no bit that is on, it means all the bits are zeros. So definitely that will be a 0 here. Clear? Any questions? That was a little tricky thing, but I hope that you can do it in the same manner. Underline this word even so that you are not going to miss it out and you are not making a mistake at all. Fine? Okay. Now you can see, by the way, just asking, do you remember that what is the problem with parity? Exactly. That's wonderful, Ali. If 2 bits have swapped their position, then this problem is called the parity. It is not detected by a parity bit. And what comes to my rescue then? A parity block, exactly. A parity, now part number 2. A parity block check can be used instead of a parity byte check. Explain how parity block check might detect an error in transmission that would not be detected by a parity byte check. It's a 2-mark question. Now what you can see, In parity check, the interchange of bits will not be detected. This is what we discussed. Or parity check cannot detect even number of changes, or you can say parity check cannot detect error if parity stays correct. If parity stays the same, the way we talked about, if two bits have swapped their positions, then it is never detected by a parity bit. It's the possible position of all the changes will be highlighted, will identify the horizontal and vertical position of all differences or all changes. Now, this is what you have to write down, that why parity block is going to be a better choice. Why have you chosen parity block? It's because that error was not detected by a parity byte check. So you can say parity 1 mark is for talking about parity check. It may not be able to detect in case if two bits have swapped their positions or they have interchanged, which is not detected. And on the contrary, the parity block is definitely going to highlight the changes because it is going to do the work horizontally. It will check first horizontally each byte, and then each column will be checked, or you can say each bit value will be checked vertically, and then you are able to detect very easily the point, the place where the error has occurred. So I think there's no question in having any problem with that. The data was sent using an even parity block check. One of the bits has been transmitted incorrectly. Identify the bit number and the byte number of the incorrect bit. Again, let's do it together. Fine? Although it's showed you, but let's do it together. Why have we chosen this? Now you can see it's even parity check again. What we did was, first of all, we identified the bytes horizontally. Even parity, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. It's correct. It means that byte 0 is correct. Byte number 1, 1, 2. That is also correct. Byte number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's also correct. Now byte number 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now byte number 3 is also correct. Byte number 4, you can see 1, 2, 3. It means that this byte has a problem. So what you did is you found that this byte has incorrect number of values. It's not even. So identified byte number 4. Moving further, byte 5, it's a 0. Again correct. Byte number 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is also correct. This is also correct. Now parity byte, again 1, 2, 3, 4. That's also correct. So you have identified the bytes and you have figured out that byte number 4 has a problem. Now let's do bitwise. All the bits are going to be handled separately. 1, 2, it's correct. Now see 1, 2, 3, that has a problem. So you have identified bit number 6. 1, 2, that's also correct. Bit number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's also correct. Now talking about this, bit number 3, 1, 2, again that is also correct. Bit number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's also correct. Bit number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's also correct. And parity bit 1, 2, 3, 4, again definitely that's correct. So it means what you have identified is byte number 4 has a problem and bit number 6 has a problem. So you have identified this whole thing and you have identified byte number 4 as a problem area. Understood? Fine. And this is actually the problem area. This is the problem area. So although it is not being asked here, but you may be asked that where the problem occurs and make the corrections also. So here the answer was only to write down the bit number, which is bit number 6, byte number, which is byte number 4. And in this manner, you can easily score 2 out of 2. But in case if they had asked you to locate the error and talk about the corrected value, then you will simply locate the error in this manner. And you will say the correction should be this position should have a 0 instead of a 1. Easy? Not difficult? Okay, that's great. Part D. The website allows the user to set up an account to log on and purchase items. The website is accessed and displayed using a web browser. Two functions of the web browser are to render HTML to display the web pages and to store cookies. Now see, the question is already talking about two functions of the web browser. So you don't have to mention these two at all and identify any of the two functions of the web browser. Now, what are the other functions? Storing bookmarks or favorites, storing history, allow multiple tabs or allow multiple web pages to be opened, allow movement backward and forward between the web pages because it has provided the navigation tools, allows the user to enter a URL or IP into the address bar, manages HTTP or HTTPS protocol, search cache for IP or requests IP from DNS or sends URL to the DNS, sends a request to the IP address or to the web server to obtain the contents of a web page, runs ActiveScript or JavaScript, or it runs the client-side script, or the last point allows files to be downloaded from the website or from the internet. So you can see, so simple, but be cautious since the question already has mentioned the two functions. So do not write down these two functions at all. And if they come into your memory still, delete them from your memory completely and then write down the other options that are available for the functions. Simple to other functions, there are so many functions. And we have talked about them quite often. So you know them and you can write them down so easily, just two functions. Easy? Okay. Identify two ways that cookies can be used to enhance the user's experience of this website. Now, what are the two ways? How can the cookies help us? It's a two-mark question. Storing preferences, so the user does not have to select their preferences each time they visit the site. That is the biggest help, the way. Stores account details, so the user does not have to remember or enter the username and password each time they visit the website. This is what we do quite often. Storing recent purchases, which allows the user to quickly reorder more items. That is also one of the ways that is going to help the user experience. Storing the web pages visited or items selected, or to display the relevant adverts, or to storing shopping baskets. So when the user leaves the site, the items are still in their basket, the virtual basket. Fine. So you can choose any of the options and definitely you are able to score the marks. By the way, are cookies dangerous? No, not at all. Exactly. Question number 6. A company is involved in robotics. One of its robots is designed to make a specific movement depending on a binary value. The table gives some of the movements for the robot. Complete the table by writing the missing binary, denary, or hexadecimal value for each movement. You can see movements are forward one step, back one step, turn right and turn left. These are the instructions or the movements. In the first one, you were given binary, you were given the denary, and you were asked to find out the equivalent hex value. Part B, back one step, you were given denary value, you were given hex value, and you were supposed to find out the equivalent binary value. For the third one, turn right, the values that were given to you were binary value and the hex value, and you were supposed to find out the equivalent denary value. And lastly, with turn left, you were given the denary, you were given the hex value, and missing was binary. How did we solve it? Now let's see the use of our working space. Now you can see the first one is I was given forward one step, and here I was given the two values, binary and hex, and the denary values. And what I did was, up to me, I was to work with the hex value. Simply, I do what I was more comfortable with the binary to hex value. So what I did was I simply wrote the binary value here, made a group of 4 bits each, as you know, as you remember, and we found that this is representing 1, and all the 4 bits on means 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 means 15, that is F. And in this manner, you got the answer for 1F, and this was written here. Easy? Any questions? Any questions with this one? See, simple. We have just taken this from here. We know 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 is 15, and that is F. Now, second one was I was given the hex value and I was given the denary value, and I was asked to find out the equivalent binary value. I was more comfortable to convert hex value to its equivalent binary value, and that was easy for me. So what I did was I used the working space and found the value for 8, which is 1000, and the value for C, that is 12. I have that we remember that is 12, and this is the value for 12. 8 plus 4 is 12. So I wrote this here. Easy? Understood? The third one, here I was given a binary value and the hex value, and I was to find out the equivalent denary value. I mean, now I'm more okay with converting binary to denary value in this manner. So what I did was I simply added the on bits, which are 2, 8, 16, and 64, and I found the answer 90. So I wrote 90 here. The last one, turn left. Hex value is 78, and remember it's 78, not 78. The denary value was 120, and I was supposed to find out the equivalent a binary. So I was more okay with converting a hex value to its equivalent binary. So what I did was I took 7. The binary for 7 is 0111, and the binary for 8 is 1000, and in this manner I find the value and I wrote them here. Why it isn't written in brackets as 0? You write it down. That's very good. Just to complete the 8-bit binary pattern. But in case you forgot, still that's perfectly okay. Do not have to worry about it. But you need to write down the proper values. Fine. Any issues? Easy. So 4 marks can be obtained so easily if you have learned the techniques of conversion, you know, and you are able to do it. No questions before we proceed to the next part? Okay, that's wonderful. Part B. Describe what is meant by robotics. Now please see it's robotics, not robots. The design of robots to perform the task or to perform the operations or to perform the functions. The construction of robots to perform the tasks or to perform the operations or functions. The operation of robots to perform the tasks, to perform the operations or to perform the functions. So you can see it's the design of the robots and or you can say the construction and the design and the operation of robots that is there to perform the different tasks, to help the people in performing different functions. Easy? But just be clear, the term is robotics and not robots. The robot has a sensor and a microprocessor. The robot will move forward continuously until it detects an object that is less than or equal to 10 centimeters in front of it. If an object is less than or equal to 10 centimeters in front of it, the robot turns 90 degrees right. It then tries to move forward again. Explain how the sensor and the microprocessor are used to automate this robot. Now just recall the same learning. It's a 7-mark question. So how will you score? Write down 7 valid points. So very first thing is remember the same principle. Any 7 valid points will definitely give you 7 out of 7. But remember to do it in a sequence. Uses an infrared or it uses a proximity sensor. Sensor continuously sends the digitized value or reading or distance to the microprocessor. You can see the term digitized. It means that already they are talking about the ADC being used. So you can simply say that it means that ADC's role is definitely there because sensor value are analog in nature. They definitely have to be converted into digital by using ADC. So that's why what is mentioned is sends the digitized value or reading or distance to the microprocessor. Microprocessor compares the data or it compares the signal to the stored value of 10. And remember, 10 centimeters, you write, that's perfectly okay. But the data that is stored in a computer is just the data, not the units. Remember, the units are for humans. We are comfortable. We are okay with the valid, whether it's centimeters or meters or millimeters or whatever. So it's for us humans. For a computer, the data is only 10. But still, if a student has written centimeters, that's considered to be perfectly okay. But I suggest you that you better write down simply the value 10. That's all. If the data or signal is greater than the stored value, or if the data is above than 10, then a signal is sent to make the robot move forward. On the contrary, if the data or signal is less than or equal to the stored value, or if the data or signal is less than or equal to 10, a signal is sent to make the robot turn. An actuator is used to make the robot turn or move forward. Remember, the role of an actuator can never be eliminated. And since it's an action which is being performed, it's some sort of action being performed. That's why it's basically the whole process repeats constantly, continuously until the system is turned off or until the whole process has stopped. So you can see so easily, you remember stages, you put them in the right sequence, you write them efficiently, properly, and with proper explanation, and 7 marks are yours. Part B, the robot needs to find its way through different puzzles. Each puzzle has a series of paths that the robot needs to follow to find its way to the end of the puzzle. The puzzle contains dead ends and obstacles. So the robot needs to decide which way to go. The robot's program will use artificial intelligence. Describe the characteristic of AI or artificial intelligence. Now you can see what is AI doing. Any three form, it's a 3-mark question. AI collects data, stores rules for using the data, the ability to reason, the ability to learn, which uses machine learning by adapting what it does. For example, from mistakes to not make them again, or from results from previous decisions are going to impact the future decisions by changing its own rules, by changing its own data, by being trained. Makes one or more predictions to make a decision, finds or analyzes the patterns. So if a student has written any of the 3 components, it means he will be able to score 3 out of 3. Explain part 2. Explain how the program will use AI. How the program will use AI. A 4-mark question. Uses program will use machine learning algorithms. It collects data about where it has been, collects data about obstacles or the problems, store successful actions, stores unsuccessful actions, identify or store patterns to make sure it does not repeat the same incorrect route. It identifies or stores patterns so it knows how to react to obstacles next time. It identifies or stores patterns so it knows what is most likely to work next time. In this manner, if you have written 4 bullet points, then definitely 4 marks are yours. Easy? Not difficult? Okay, Jazakallah khairan kasira for being a part of the learning journey. I hope that you have understood each and everything. That's really great that you are here with me in this learning journey. Subscribe my channel, share with your friends and family so they all are going to benefit from it. Allah Hafiz. Take very good care of yourselves.